Perfect. Fatma, over to you.
Are you still getting the charisma?
No, we're good.
Hello, good day, good evening, good morning from wherever you're joining us from. Welcome to the kickoff event for HP Mac 5.
Thank you.
Let's see where everyone is calling from. If you could type in the chat where you're calling from. Let's see where you're joining us from today. Where are you joining us from? From Kenya? Is it Karibu? To the people from Kenya, you're welcome.
Karibu sana.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
Nigeria.
So it's, I don't know which one for Nigeria, Ekabo or...
From Kenya.
From Kenya, from Abuja. You're all welcome.
From Kano State.
From Kano State. Sandazua, welcome.
Oh, wow.
From South Africa, hello from South Africa, Marge Brown. Thank you for joining us.
Abuja.
From Abuja. Welcome everyone. I'm so excited to be launching our 5th cohort. It seems like only yesterday we launched the first cohort in Abuja. From Lagos, you're welcome. From Nairobi, Kenya. From Mombasa, welcome.
Ibadan,
I remember from
Nigeria.
Abuja, Nigeria.
All right, welcome. From Côte d'Ivoire, Madame Vanessa Sessi, bonjour, welcome. All right, I'm going to start now. So today we are kicking off the 5th cohort of HP Mentor Teacher. It's a collaboration between HP, 1 Million Teachers, and Girl Rising. And from HP, we have Mr. Tunde Agboke and Betty Hill Garcia. Thank you for joining us. We have our CEO, Mr. Hakim Zubair, and Rizma from 1 Million Teachers. And from Girl Rising, we have Brenda, is it? Yes? Are you with us, Brenda?
Debbie, not Brenda.
Debbie, I'm so sorry. Debbie, welcome, Debbie. Sorry. Okay, welcome. We're so glad to have you with us today. Thank you for joining us. While we let everyone in, I'm going to hand over to Rizma and Hakim.
I don't remove my.
Hakim, would you like to go first and then I'll join you afterwards?
So yeah,
Hakim, over to you.
Yes. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, now we can.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody from Canada. Really excited about this new cohort. This is our 5th rodeo. And I don't have much to say, but just to welcome everybody and to express our deepest gratitude to all the program team. Let's start with Mr. Tunde Agboke. Director of Governance at HP, who has always been front center in this whole program. Betty Garcia, our guest, thank you very much for coming again. And I see Debbie here from Girl Rising, our collaborator in this program. Thank you, everybody. We have many mentors who are here. This is, I think there's an echo. Okay, so we have many of our amazing mentors here. I welcome all of you and the mentees also. So yeah, I don't have much to say. I know Fatima will take us through the program rundown and Rizma, but my message is a warm welcome. In the next 6 months, obviously, we'll be working closely together, and we will get to grow together, understand ourselves better, and so yeah, that's just my brief message of welcome. Thank you, everybody.
Hi, good evening, good afternoon, good morning to some people. Hi, everybody. First of all, I would say if you're not speaking, so please can you mute yourself? Then otherwise there's going to be an echo. Like Athene said, we would like to welcome you all today for the kickoff event of HP MAT, which is the 5th cohort, and we're really excited. And we would like to celebrate your commitment to the growth, the excellence, and the transformation power of education. I know it's a new chapter for some of the people as mentees and some of the people as mentors. And I would say just be there to support and help each other, because we're going to be actually working together stronger. And this time around, we're working on a theme of grid and growth, pushing the boundaries of what's possible within our classrooms and beyond the classrooms, which is within our communities, not just our own communities, but global communities as well. So I would say our leaders are Black Belts. Welcome to HP Mat 5. And I'll hand it over to Fatma again.
Fatima, you're mute.
Hi, sorry. I was just saying that HP Mat 5, the theme is grit and growth. It's all about resilience and continuous professional development. This year, we did something different. We had a sensitization meeting this time last week with our mentors, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We have some new mentors. We have mentors that this is their second time, their first, third time, fourth time, and some are even fifth time mentors. And we want everyone to know exactly what the expectations are. And can we please mute? Please mute. So yes, we had a sensitization meeting, which is something that we haven't done before, where we got all the mentors together, both new and old, and they have also been onboarding themselves to the Together platform. Today, the mentees will be onboarded onto the Together platform, where they can choose a mentor, they can start the discussion, they can start negotiating about what time is going to be suitable for the mentor and mentee, discuss the curriculum that we've given you. We always say that this is not set in stone. We want to help you develop both your personal and professional skills. There are 4 main areas that we always focus on: digital literacy, effective leadership, success, mindset, and gender equity. All right, Rizma.
Hi, so Tune, over to you.
Thank you, Rizma. So without further ado, I am excited to introduce our distinguished speaker today. Mrs. Betty Garcia-Hill is going to be speaking to you all about conflict resolution in education. So over to you, Betty.
Thank you so much, Tunde. Again, my name is Betty Garcia-Hill. It's a pleasure to be here with you. I'll begin just telling you a little bit about myself. I was a teacher for many years. I was a teacher, then I was a master technology teacher. what I did when I was a master technology teacher is I was a coach, I was an appraiser, I was a content specialist, and then I was promoted to the district office. I served in the 7th largest district in the United States. I served over 215,000 students in over 285 campuses. So know a lot about conflict and resolution. As a teacher, I had to deal with parent and children conflict. As a campus educational technologist, it's very difficult being an appraiser and being the coach for teachers and really helping them build their capacity, and ensuring they had that rigor and did the best for scholars and kids and still keeping those authentic relationships. As a manager, I supervised 35 data specialists that needed to go and coach all of these other schools. And so a lot of, I think what I hope that you take away from today's session, it's not if, it's when you're going to have conflict, right? And so it's so important that you have a toolbox. It's so important that you have somewhere to lean on, because it's going to happen. And so hopefully today, through dialogue, we can take you through that. I know, Tunde, last time you and I sort of did this as an interview. So however you want to do this, or if you just want me to take it on my own, that's fine too. But I'll start out with this Thomas Kilmann model. And what I'll do first is I'll walk you through the tools and sort of how to negotiate in your mind, but then afterwards what that looks like in best practice, because that's what we want, right? We want to talk about scenarios. We want to talk about what this looks like. You want to talk about like those difficult conversations. So hopefully we'll get into that too. And then we'll have an opportunity. I'll give you some very strong examples of how this happened to me in my career, as a teacher, as a coach, as a mentor, as a leader, as a manager, as an appraiser, and hopefully you can take some of these away, and we'll give you opportunities for you to ask questions at the end. So I'll tell you why it's so difficult in education. It's a different business, and people, this is not one where you're dealing with HR. I mean, you do have HR, but the difference here is that as a teacher, or you have non-negotiables, and a lot of these are policies from the government. A lot of these are policies that are coming from above. A lot of these are data privacy. A lot of these are legalities that we can't change. And so there's only so much negotiating we can do. In other industries, there might be some negotiation, but we don't negotiate with what's best for kids. We do what's right for kids. And so when we're in classrooms, we have to challenge ourselves to say, is this right for the kid? Sometimes as adults, right, we want to do what's right for us. But I think at the end of the day, we recognize that we're in this business to do what's right for kids. And so there's only a certain amount of negotiation that can be done there. So that's why this is a little different from what you'd see in a business model, but I'll connect all of those points as well. If you notice in the Kilmann model, you have two things. You have the importance of the goal, right? Making sure that we meet that high rigor, we meet those standards, we meet those objectives, those high expectations. But at the end of the day, too, we also have to balance that with relationships. The relationships we have with teachers, the relationships we have with parents, the relationships we have with students. And the natural thing, especially for teachers, is what? They don't want conflict. They just want to close their door and do what they've been doing and not fight, right? And so sometimes when we're new mentors, we want to keep those relationships, and it's really hard to have those difficult conversations. So the easiest thing is to avoid. But the problem with avoidance is what? We never fix the problem. The problem stays. We don't meet the needs of students. We don't meet the needs of parents. We don't fix the situation. The situation's just kind of brewing there. So that's not good for anybody. Then still in the low where we keep, let's just keep that in relationship because that's so important to us. Let's just say, okay, we accommodate. Somebody comes to us and says, oh, Betty, I'm not happy because of this and this. We can't always be accommodating and changing. There's things we can't accommodate. There's things we can't change. You can't change policy. You can't change assessments. You can't change grading cycles. You can't. So although this is like to have, the reality is there's only a certain amount of things that are within your control that you can accommodate, right? Let's go to the other side of the spectrum, goals. Let's say you're that leader that just wants goals, goals, goals. I need this done. I need this done. I need this done. And you push teachers, and you push students, and you push the parents, and it's a non-negotiable. You're going to be a leader that nobody's going to follow, right? And so we have to be careful with being so goal-driven that we break our relationships, and then you're in the front, but nobody's behind you, right? And so in most corporate environments, they tell you that the best thing is compromise. However, I'm going to challenge that, and I'm going to say that the best thing is that ultimate at the top, which is collaboration. Collaboration is when you're able to work together to really dialogue about the teacher's needs, the policies, and the things that are non-negotiables, and you work together to collaborate, to work as a team to get the job done. You keep that relationship. You do push for the goals. However, you collaborate as a team to get there. And so I'll just share an example of that. Okay, so I was an appraiser, and I had to understand what teachers really wanted. And what teachers wanted is they wanted to feel successful. And what teachers wanted is they wanted a really nice appraisal. They wanted to know I'm exceeds expectation. I excel. I'm great. I'm wonderful, right? That's what teachers wanted. I wanted teachers to be highly effective for students, right? So I had a goal. My teachers had a goal. And so good instruction is good instruction. I could not accommodate in certain ways, or I couldn't lower that. And so this is what I did. What I did is, as an appraiser, I told them, listen, I'm going to give you a couple of freebies. I'm going to walk through the classrooms, and I'm not going to grade you. I'm just going to give you feedback so you and I can align. I'm going to give you feedback so you know what I'm looking for, and I can help you with strategies of how to get there. And this is not going to go into your folder. This is not going to go into your paperwork. This is just for you and me to be aligned. And then I'll give you opportunities throughout the year so that you can meet those goals. And so the teachers, of course, feedback is tough, but I gave them that feedback, but I also gave them the how. Try to implement this, try to implement this. Next time that I come to your classroom, I'd like to see this and this. So I gave them a couple of calibration rounds. So by the third time I came to your classroom, I did want to see some improvement. I did want to see some changes, but I was willing to come back throughout that cycle to continue to coach my teachers. And so why was that? And then they could come and they could talk to me about, well, Betty, but I was doing this and this. Excellent. And so I scripted my feedback. I gave them exact examples. We had a very tight rubric of what I expected, what excellence looked like. But the wonderful thing is that we both got what we wanted. They had the opportunity to work towards that excellent, and I raised the quality of instruction on my campus. Right? So I hope that that really shows you how I didn't avoid the bad instruction. I didn't just say, I want this and this and this, and when I walk in, right? There was some level of accommodation, but the reality is good instruction was that non-negotiable, and we worked as a team to get there. So that's just one example. So I'll pause for a second. I see that's good steps. It's amazing. Makes a lot of sense psychologically, self-esteem, builds good relationships. Thank you so much for that. But I'll tell you this. One of the things that I learned is that it was really important to be authentic. It was very important to be very real. It was very important. When you're a leader, you have to lead with excellence. I was ready to go in their class and say, let's roll our sleeves up. Let's get with kids. When we were doing tutorials, I'd sit with a group of kids. I needed to be that highly exemplary teacher for them. I needed to set that model. I needed to win them over. My discipline in the cafeteria, they had 25 kids. I had 350, and I could let me unmute myself. I was muted, sorry, temporarily. And I apologize. I'm losing my voice a little bit, so I'll keep going. Okay, so let's break it down now, right? So what are some steps for agreeable solutions? We talked about a toolbox. We talked about kind of like, okay, let's break it down. Let's see what that looks like. And this is all, now I'm going to bring it more towards the difficult conversations, right? So those small tables, small group conversations when I had to maybe settle a conflict, not with me, but maybe two people in my team were bickering, right? Two maybe data coach specialists or two grade level chair teachers, right? Very often as teachers, everybody wants to be the best teacher, right? And so you have two that are like in the same grade level and they're just competing against each other. And so the first thing that I did, it's very important. Don't choose favorites. I'm going to repeat that again. Even if you know that, oh, this teacher is always very nice and, oh, they would never. Don't take favorites. When you go into a conflict situation, you really want to acknowledge people's feelings. Because nobody can tell you whether you have a right to feel sad, mad, angry. Think about moments when you've gotten upset. Sometimes you're not even sure why you feel that way, but you just have to own it and acknowledge, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm frustrated. So take a moment, acknowledge that everybody has the right to have feelings about something, right? So when you walk into a room, just take a moment to acknowledge, I understand that this is frustrating to you. I understand that you feel this. Try to identify the problem, the root cause of it as best possible. Define it. What is it at its root? Yeah. What is it? And come with it with an opportunity to say, we want to resolve this, right? Because we need to know what it is that we want to fix. It's really hard to come into a situation and try to fix something if you don't even know what you're fixing, right? So it's like, what is the outcome that we want after this meeting? So what is it that you would like to come out of this meeting? Person A. What is it that you would like to come out of this meeting? Person B, right? Number 3, and this one I do early, but I guarantee you that this is so worth it. The third part is anchor the teams on their norms. Before I had any conflict, very early with my teams, I created these posters with them as a team building activity. So what I would do is I would tell the team, what do you want from me as your leader? Jot it down, put Post-its. Tell me all of the qualities that you need from me as your leader. And they would say trustworthy, open door, that, unbiased, whatever. Okay. So we'd put them all together. And I would say, I commit everything that you've asked me to do. I would make a really pretty poster with all of the things that they felt that were important. And then I would add mine, the values that I stand behind. Being truthful, being honest, being genuine, being a collaborator, being in the work with them, right? But then I turn it around and I said, okay, now it's you as a teammate. What are you committed to? What are some of the qualities that you expect from one another? So then we'd go through them and they'd put Post-its of what they expected from one another. So we'd cement these on my wall in my office. Or if it was a grade level, we'd put them in the grade level chair's office, wherever we met. So when we had these conflict issues, guess what I did? I'd point back to that poster and said, okay, we're committed to being open. We committed that we're going to be open to dialogue. We're committed that we're going to collaborate. So I anchored on these principles that we had agreed on. And so when we weren't behaving in that way, I would pause and we would reflect back on our norms. If I already knew that the meeting was going to be contentious from the beginning, I would say, okay, let's just remember our norms. We're going to be open. We're going to be authentic. We're going to be, right? We're going to be trustworthy. We're going to try to be mission-minded, whatever it is that we had agreed on as a team. But it really puts people in a different mindset when they've sort of signed on to say, this is the kind of team we're going to be. And I held us accountable to it. And so whenever voices and things, we'd pause, we'd take a moment, we'd recollect ourselves. We anchored on our norms. We'd anchor on the common language. And it changed the the bad dialogue, right? We would redirect that bad dialogue. And so then it was easier because remember, we had already done our homework before. So I have to tell you, if you have a team, if you are a manager, if you are a leader, I can't emphasize this enough. Make your little posters, and you can't just make them yourself. They have to make them with you, and they have to commit, because remember, it's their norms. It's what they're committed to. So you can't buy these, you have to make them. Number 4, let everyone have a say and listen attentively. Have a protocol where there's A person can dialogue, and then B is going to want to talk and say, I understand B. Let's just allow A to have their moment, because we really want to understand. We really want to understand what person A is feeling. So let's just let them, and then you'll have a moment. So that right now, let's actively listen to A. And then we'll turn around, and then I'll expect the same thing from A. Now we're going to actively listen to B, because we really want to solve this. And in order to solve this, we really want to understand all aspects. And when I say actively listen, again, this is why it's really important. Don't have favorites, and don't think that you know the situation, because then you're contributing to the problem, right? So we really need to be just and righteous when we are actively listening. Be solution-oriented. Again, that's why it's so important to understand the problem and to say, what do we want? What is the ideal outcome? Like, but when you're understanding the problem is, what would you like to come out of this meeting? What would you like to come out of this meeting? So then can we work towards both coming out of this meeting with a solution? Determine each side's role in the solution. So I commit to do A, B, C, D. A, what do you commit to? B, what do you commit to? And sometimes it's getting language from our norms to help us with those commitments of the things that we're committed to doing. So I'll take a moment and I'll read some of the comments. Great communication is very key. Make a poster, very true. Excellent. So wonderful. So now we have a tool. Like, if you need to literally have a checklist, I would say this would be it. And so this will help you navigate having those difficult conversations, but always ensure that you bring your authentic self, that people know that you care about them. Most of the time, people don't necessarily remember what you said, but they do remember how you treated them. And so when people know that you care about them, that you care about their feelings, that you care about what they're going through, and that you're going to work towards helping find a solution together, then again, you get to that collaboration. But this is where we go back. You can't avoid it. You can't always accommodate it. You can't just tell them, mandate A is going to do this and B is going to do this, right? This is where, again, it's a matter of that collaboration and you're really getting to the root cause of those issues. Excellent. Okay. So Tunde, I don't know. I know that you liked this part last time. Do you want to kind of walk us through it? Maybe discuss some scenarios. I don't want to call on you if you just want me to keep going.
No, look, I think whatever works best. If I feel like the flow's going pretty good without me interrupting you, but
Okay. All right. So let's just kind of start breaking it down. Yeah. I'm gonna talk through a typical scenario as a teacher. And usually teachers have problems with who? Parents. Then I'll talk through a scenario where, again, we use that model of how we collaborate to get to a solution. Then I'll go through a teacher with their leader, again, like that appraiser or that type of conflict where they have a coach or they have something. And then we all know from the higher up, whether it's a legality, whether it's our district, whether it's our institution, that's kind of coming from above, and we have to abide by, right, this new policy or these new things. So the first one is, I'm just going to grab the popular one. Homework or grades? Oh, the teacher gives too much homework. Oh, the teacher graded Tunde, and I don't agree with the grading policy that I don't agree that Miss Betty gave little Tunde a C and he deserves an A because he's brilliant, right? That always happens, right? And so what I would do first, you got to build a relationship. And honestly, this is what you want to teach your teachers. You have to have a conversation with Tunde's mom or dad before you have issues. I'm going to repeat that. You don't want your first call to Tunde's parents to be Tunde's misbehaving, Tuesday's failing math. You want the first call to be, I love having Tunde in my class. I love how creative Tunde is. I've noticed he really likes music, and I love how creative he is in class. And I want you to think about that. Why is it so important that the first engagement is positive? Because then the parents will know, I genuinely care about Tunde. I genuinely know Tunde's affinities. I genuinely know what he cares about. So when an issue comes up and I say, Miss Agboke, you know how much I enjoy my Tunde. However, I'm seeing he's struggling with math and I want to work together to see how we can help him, right? How do you think that conversation will go? Again, we're foreseeing conflict resolution. If nothing else, his mom's already knows Ms. Garcia is a good teacher. She cares about my son. She might not like that he's failing math, but now it's not parent and teacher. Now it's let's work together to help Tunde, right? So I can't emphasize priming your relationships first. Start with something positive. The second thing, the second thing is a lot of parents are in denial. Right? Muted. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was muted. The second thing is sometimes parents are in denial, right? And so a great way to help parents when they're struggling to identify where their child really is at is bring evidence, bring data. And so what I would do is I'd always have portfolios of all my scholars, always. I'd always have evidence of their mastery. And so when I had those parent conferences, I'd bring out examples, right? And I would cover the names, but I would bring examples of an exemplary scholar, a medium scholar, and then their child. And I would say, I love Tunde too. I'm really concerned because this is what I want to work for Tunde to be able to do, and I need your help. And I know we can work together to help and then offer solutions. But when they see their child and they see what grade level content should look like and what exemplary work should look like, then they start having a visual, right? And so I'd have plenty of exemplars. This is what happened with assignment A and assignment B and assignment C, and this is how I've been trying to help. But again, you're mission minded. I'm going to go back to my previous slide. We acknowledge the conflict, we define the problem. The problem is not, I don't like Tunde, right? We are solution oriented. We tell them, this is what I believe that can help. I'm going to offer extra tutorials. I have this software that can help scaffold. I have, right? This is maybe if you commit to this and I commit to this, we can work together to help Tunde. I never changed grades. I made them earn it. So I never was afraid that if the parent came and said, "Oh, my son needs an A," I'd be like, "Absolutely. You and I want him to get an A. Let's work to get there. Let me show you what an A looks like. And let me show you how we can help Tunde get there." Make sense? Okay, teacher leader. Perception of unfairness. That's probably, I see a hand raised. Do we want to wait till the end for questions, or do we want to go ahead and open it up?
I would say let's just wait till the end because I want to make sure you get through everything.
Got it. Okay. The teachers, leaders, the big one is always, oh, you have favorites. Oh, you like this one more than that one. And so I'll tell you what we did there. Sometimes it's hard when you have a limited budget, right? So some people get the laptop, some people get the smart board, some people, and then it's like, and so you want, again, to build systems in place. And so what we did is we had what was called an SDMC, and that's a committee that had parents, teachers, admin. And so when we had big decisions, we had that committee make the big decisions. So we have 200 laptops coming in. How should we use? Who has a greater need? And we dialogue. We have these amount of smart boards. We have this amount of thing. How can we? It was very important to make these decisions in a open way, because then they couldn't say, well, oh, Betty has her favorites. Oh, the principal is always, they like that fifth grade. Fifth grade is, we really, and so it went back to the SDMC, this committee that had parents, they had teachers, they had a representation. And you can't always have a committee for everything, but be as transparent as possible. That would be my suggestion. When you can, build in systems. Again, teachers couldn't say I was being unfair with appraisals. I was very open. I was very transparent with the rubric I was using. I was very open and transparent with how I was going to grade. I gave them freebies, so they couldn't say that I was being unfair. I gave them, and it was more work for me. But the reality is it allowed me to keep those authentic relationships. Okay, the last one. The last one's probably the hardest because it's the one you have least control over. You don't have control over teacher pay. You don't have control over reduced funds. You don't have control over policies that just come from the top. But what you do have control over is teacher morale, right? And so it was very important for me to allow teachers from us as leadership, to acknowledge the problems, to acknowledge the way teachers felt, and to do our part. And so, teachers do so much work outside of the classroom. That's probably the biggest, right? They take work to grade. They do a lot of work with their own families. So one of the things that we did is we did not email anybody after 4 p.m., after the school day was over. We didn't email and expect things Friday afternoon. and made teachers hyperventilate. We didn't throw things on teacher. We were very careful to see if there was anything we could take off the teacher load, right? There was anything we could do, leadership could do, coaches could do to make that not just give it on the teacher, but see if there was anything that we do step 1, 2, 3, and then teachers just had to do 4 and 5, and that we gave them enough time to do it, and that we explained the why. Sometimes it wasn't within our power, but we took care of our teachers, because I'll tell you this work cannot be done without teachers. You don't want them to quit. And so treat them right, treat them, make them feel valued, make them feel that they're it. They are the ones. And so again, be a leader that people follow. That was the big thing. I wanted to be the leader that my teachers stood behind, and my teachers would walk through fire for me, because they knew that if we needed to roll up our sleeves, I was right there in the work with them. I'll pause. Okay, time for questions. Tunde, I don't know how you want to guide the questions.
Yeah, I will guide the questions. So first, thank you, Betty. Thank you for that. That was a great presentation. Folks are very excited in the chat. The very first question I'm going to ask you is, we have a question in chat related to, how do you work with a student and their parents or guardians who are blaming the teacher for the student's consistent, I hate to use the word, but failure, if you've tried everything you can do, but the student just can't get over the hump?
Yeah, so it depends, so let's just, I know sometimes it's sensitive with, especially with younger kids, right? A lot of parents don't want to accept, especially when students need a medical diagnosis for dyslexia or, some other impediment. What I would do is I would have them observe from afar. So, like, for example, I would schedule times, and sometimes it was a challenge because the student would act differently when their parent was there. But if it could be through a window, or sometimes I could do it from within the classroom, but I would have the parent observe. And observe, and I would help them before to say, okay, so as a leader, I facilitated that, right? So I would not, remember, teachers don't always know how to have this dialogue with parents. So when I had these parents that were like very needy, as a leader, you have to be in those conversations and you have to facilitate because you have the skills. And so I would remember, you're the third party because they're already mad at the teacher. You're a bad teacher. You don't care about my child. And so it kind of de-escalates when the leader gets involved, and the leader listens, identifies the problem, and creates a plan to say, okay, I understand how you feel. I think we all have the same goal. We want to help Tunde. So let's set up some planned visits, and I'll facilitate that, where we're going to observe from afar. And I would actually have that from different perspectives, not just with that teacher, but when they go to physical education, when they go to art, when they go to these special classes, other classes, so that they can see behavior and behavioral patterns across different teachers, right? And so then they're going to see, oh, Betty's misbehaving everywhere, or Betty's having issues everywhere. And then you just dialogue to say, well, but again, let's collaborate to create a plan. Be very goal focused. But yes, usually I as a leader would facilitate that.
Thanks. That's a great answer, Betty, because we actually had that question several times. So thank you for that. So this is kind of a follow-up to the first question we just asked. What happens if, and I know earlier you said that some things we can't change, like policy, we can't change it, right? So what happens if your school or institution has a policy where teachers aren't supposed to contact the parents? And let's assume the leader or leadership isn't necessarily as active in facilitating that conversation. What should you as a teacher or as an educator do? Because you have this policy that's blockading you, and you have a leader or leadership who isn't necessarily being active.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And as a teacher, we want ideally teachers have a strong leadership that supports them. But hopefully in your institution, you want to build mechanisms to allow teachers to express their needs, right? So we had, I'll talk at the campus level. We had like an anonymous box. Anybody could write anything. Teachers, janitors, parents, students could write an anonymous box and provide feedback. And we as a leadership had to listen to that feedback. We had no idea where it came from. But again, this is your norms. This is when you're committed to saying, I'm committed to really thinking about these things and seeing if we can. The challenge is that some things, there has to be some level of patience. And I'm never going to advocate for breaking policy. Policy is policy. And unfortunately, it's in place because you may not know all these other things. And I experienced that as a teacher. I thought I knew better because I knew my classroom. But once I became a leader, I saw all these other complexities that I had no idea transpired outside of my classroom. So tell your teachers, we recognize it takes patience. However, understand that your classroom is a microcosm. And these policies are in place because there's so many complexities outside of your classroom. And so you don't know, we don't always know why those policies are in place, but they're in place for a reason. And it's usually for your protection, right? And so the idea then is to be able to have authentic ways of communicating with leadership. And if there's a leader who's not doing a great job, first, again, authentically, I'm a very authentic person. Tunde knows this. I speak with my heart at hand. So but I am bold, and I would ask that teacher to very conscientiously, maybe write down their words, ask a colleague to read them before they go and email them or go talk to their leader. But let them know, I'm having this sincere problem. I really am having this issue with this parent. I need help. Again, communication. They have to communicate. They also have to document. I've asked the leader on opportunity A, on opportunity B, on opportunity C, and on opportunity D, and there has been no action. So now, after multiple attempts at solving the problem authentically, then it will be an opportunity to escalate to the leader to say, again, I'm not trying to, I understand that there might be complexities that I don't understand, but I need assistance. And I recognize that this leader might not have the power to help me in this situation. Again, it's not against people. It's a root need that we're serving kids and we're doing what's right for kids. And if a scholar's not getting his needs met, that's all of our problem. So that would be my recommendation. Don't focus on so-and-so leader's not helping me and so-and-so policy's not working. Focus on what's right for kids. Communicate it on what's right for this scholar. And always communicate it as I'm trying to get the needs met for this scholar and I'm seeking assistance. Right? Who's going to knock you for being a great teacher advocating for a scholar? Right? And so sometimes when we're fired up, we write those like hateful emails. Give yourself a couple minutes. Don't send them. Let a colleague read them. Let somebody else kind of, okay, let's take this down a notch. Let's wait 24 hours. Let's see if you feel the same way. Don't send it. Send it the next day. And make the issue not about you or about the other person. Make it about the root cause. And if it's about kids, then it's worth the fight.
I love that. Thank you, Betty. That was fantastic. So we're gonna do one more question before we wrap this up. So Betty, all right, we talked about, you just mentioned looking at it from a overall kind of district perspective, right? Because there might be policies that people aren't aware of as a teacher because it's only a microcosm of everything going on at that one school inside that district, right? So if you are at the district level, school district level, what are some tips to create an environment that is supportive of teachers, that's supportive of the scholars, of the community at whole, right? To make sure that we're creating this productive educational environment.
Absolutely. And so I'll speak from it first from a very practical perspective, and then I'll speak from it from a sensitive perspective. So the first one is I'll give you my specific example. I was over data-driven instruction and interoperability for all testing and formative assessment. So not the big state tests, national tests, but the smaller check marks, checks for understanding that happened at the district level. This big culture change, big culture change. And you know how teachers feel about data and people looking at their numbers and people thinking I'm going to get fired if my data doesn't come out right. So very politically charged. So culture was key in defining what is formative assessment. Why are we doing checks for understanding? Really building common language from the leadership and from the top, and our commitment to saying these are checks for understanding. Nobody is going to get fired over these. Because if not, you're just going to get a bunch of people that cheat because they don't want to get fired. And they, so it's like, do you really want good data? Okay, let's set up the right culture here. And then first we needed to build a culture for formative assessment, build a culture around dialogue, around conversations. And it was very complex because we needed then, I was only me, remember, I was only myself, and I had to do this. I had to train principals and leaders and chiefs and everybody, but I had to basically multiply myself times 285 schools, right? Because they had to have these conversations. So I created these toolboxes. And I literally gave the leaders the talking points and the questions that they should be asking so that they could have these conversations with teachers. I did it very strategically. It was about the conversations. It wasn't about the data. It was about the dialogue and about how this data was going to impact instruction and about the changes that teachers had to feel, again, that culture and that mindset. And so I literally spoon-fed my principals because I understood that culture was going to go through those, what we call here in America, we have what are called professional learning communities. So they plan together and we create these communities within the school led by the principal. And so I created everything. I created the PowerPoint. I created the talking points. I gave them what were called cheat sheets. I gave the principals cheat sheets so that they could, but I did it intentionally. Again, I took the load of the work because I knew it was about culture. And then for my teachers, I created toolboxes for them. Not this big instruction manual, just these bite-sized 2-minute videos with task cards that allowed them to do A, B, C, D. So they didn't feel overwhelmed. They could onboard to this. They could run this report, ask themselves these questions. They knew when they were going to go to the PLC that they were going to feel prepared. It wasn't a gotcha. So a very complex cultural thing that we created that shift in Houston ISD. So very proud of that work. So it wasn't just about looking at it in a way where it was tasks, right? It was thinking about what kind of culture did I want to create and how could I create that from the back end, and then kind of backwards plan, And I was a teacher. My mom was a teacher. My dad was a teacher. My sister was a teacher. My husband was a teacher. And so in my case, I thought about what is my mom? What do I want for my mom? What do I want for my sister? What do I want for and so I didn't design with myself in mind. I designed with them in mind.
I love that, Betty. Thank you. Designing with others in mind, right? Not yourself in mind. I love that. This has been an amazing and fast 45 minutes. I want to make sure we give Debbie from 1 Million Teachers a chance to talk after you. But Betty, thank you so much for this amazing presentation and kicking off our 5th cohort of HP MAT. You are a champion of 1 Million Teachers internally and really appreciate everything you've done for 1 Million Teachers and HP MAT. Thank you, Betty.
Thank you, Betty.
Always a pleasure.
So we're having Deborah Odeniyi, sorry. Deborah Odeniyi, are you ready? From Girl Rising.
Thank you so much. As always, it's good evening, everyone. Sorry,
Good evening.
It's always a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me on behalf of Girl Rising. I would like to extend many thanks to Hakim and the entire team at 1MT for our continued partnership, which began in 2021. We have built on the foundations of our shared understanding and the importance of equipping educators globally with essential and progressive skills, just like you mentioned on the opening of this meeting, to enable them build and grow what Girl Rising is passionate about, gender equitable learning environments. We also extend our gratitude to HP team led by Mr. Tunde for their support as always. We say asante sana. They have enabled us to bring programming on gender and equity to a wide population across the world. At Girl Rising, we really place the educator or the teacher at the center of what we do because we create curriculum. And we are proud of what the HPMAT program does, the mentorship bit of it. And so very proud as you launch HPMAT 5. And we are confident that the strong partnership that is enjoyed by 1MT, HP, and Girl Rising will continue to deepen in the future. So all the best, cohort 5. And yeah, thank you for having us as you kick off the HPMAT 5. Thank you so much. Have a good evening, everyone, and afternoon.
Thank you very much, Deborah. Okay. Will I be allowed to share my screen? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, you should be able to share your screen. You should be able to share.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they can.
All right, so I just want to quickly run through the curriculum for HP Math 5. What are our expectations from mentors and mentees? I was really happy that Debbie Betty Garcia went through conflict resolution because that is important even in virtual relationships between mentor and mentee. So these decks are going to be shared with all the mentors and mentees. All the mentors and mentees. Hello?
We can hear you. We can hear you.
Oh, you can hear me. All right. Yeah. So we're going to share these with the mentors and mentees so they know what is expected from them. Respect. When you agree on a schedule, if you're not able to make it, always try to call. Simple things like that. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't make it today. Something happened. Can we rearrange? Can we reschedule? Can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can.
No.
Yeah. Okay, as you know.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Okay, so HP Mentor a Teacher program. As you know, it's based on these 4 core principles of gender equity, relationships and digital inclusion, leadership development, and the success mindset. We have asked you to sign a commitment form. like Betty said, if you both agree and both sign the commitment form, we can always bring out the commitment form and say, this is what you signed up for. We are going to be using the Together mentoring software. And we've just had one of our hosts for the monthly meetings with the HP executives for mentors. I'm sure we might see Betty Garcia-Hill in the future delivering another awesome presentation. And of course, we have the HP Live courses. Now, during your first meeting, you are going to talk to your mentee about 6 leadership approaches from the HP Life course. And I noticed on our WhatsApp groups, a lot of mentees have already started doing the HP Life courses, which is fantastic. But you still need to go through it with them. And there's also a pre-engagement skills assessment. So you want to know what hobbies they are, what are their goals. We are going to be sharing the pre-assessment form on the mentor and mentees platform. What are our expectations? For mentors, we expect you to be committed. We expect you to be willing to share your experience with your mentees during the program and to make yourself available at regular intervals over the 6-month period. As a teacher, we always have to be creative and find creative ways to communicate and connect with your mentee. Ask them what are their goals? How can you help them reach those goals? Build a positive relationship, and you might learn from each other. You don't be surprised if your mentee is actually more experienced than you in other areas. So the mentors and mentees have a lot to learn from each other. And mentees, we expect discipline and commitment. So you'll be giving them a pre-assessment form based on the HP Life leadership skills, leadership approaches, visionary coaching, and so on, collaborate, pace setting. These are things that you're going to go through with your mentee. This is the timeline for this year. We're at the end of August, so meetings will probably start next week, which is September, and we hope to have sessions in October, November, December, and the graduation in January. Okay, mentors have already received their registration link, our sensitization meeting last Monday, the 19th, and mentees, as we speak, Risma is busy sending them out to you. By the end of this meeting, mentees, go check your email. You should have received your link where you can choose your mentor. Now, before choosing your mentor, look at things that you have in common. Maybe you're a science teacher and you want somebody else who's a science teacher. Maybe you're a primary school teacher and you want somebody else who's a primary school teacher. Maybe you're a head teacher. So look at the profile of the different mentors and you're allowed to choose. Mentors can choose up to 3 mentees. Now, a lot of people get mixed up with the 1MT HP mentorship course on the Black Belt program with this HP mentor teacher program. So, and they say, oh, I've got my certificate. Can we mute, please? I've got my certificate from my Black Belt course. Well, that is different from the certificate that you'll be getting at the end of the 6-month course. So yes, there is the HP mentorship course from 1 Million Teachers, and it's a very good idea to review the course, but that is not the whole picture. So there's so many other things that you'll be doing. These are some topics for September, and there is a link that that will take you to the HP Life courses. So you're going to be talking about bravery and how girls can be brave. October is all about the success mindset. November is about grit, which is our theme. And we have this very popular Angela Lee Duckworth video about grit. December, we've got the digital literacy topics, online teaching assistants, and so many other things, and how to create your own digital portfolio. And then in January, we've got the Girl Rising and gender responsive education. And Tunde has already given me the topics for and the dates. In October, we are going to be having Mr. Jared Palmer on building professional networks. And our next meeting with HP executives will be with Cedric Bando on the 18th of November. We will also be having sessions on cybersecurity, creativity and innovation, presentation skills, and public speaking. So that's, in a nutshell, that is what is expected during your 6 months program. These are the HP team. And we've just had a talk about Girl Rising and, of course, 1 million teachers. Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing and come back.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Fatma. Now we need to wind up because we have done 1 hour. Everybody can actually go and have a great evening.
We need to take pictures. Yeah, and
so if everybody can put their cameras on, we'll just take 2 minutes. I'll take the screenshots. You can take the screenshots as well, and then we'll call it a day. So let's get ready. Let's put our cameras on. Put a big smile. And I'll take the screenshot. Everybody else take a screenshot. We can share that in the group and we'll take it as a memory.
I don't know.
Your phone time, actually.
Right, everyone say 1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
Okay.
1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
1 million
teachers. 1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
1 million
1
teachers.
Long live 1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
Switch your cameras on. You need to switch on your cameras. Please switch on your cameras and smile.
Long live 1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
Switch on your cameras and smile.
1 million teachers. 1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
1 million
Guys.
Long live 1 million
Awesome. Perfect, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Good luck with these cohorts. Good luck, cohorts. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Happy mentoring. Bye-bye.
The glasses are trying to cheer.
Kama sun gama ai. Baby, just listen.
Thank you for your time. Thank you, everybody. You can start leaving. Thank you.
Teacher. Proudly 1 million.
1 million teachers.
1 million teachers.
1 million. Okay.
1 million, teacher. Teachers.
Hello. Are we done? Have we finished? Okay, yeah.
This kind of fish. This is called croaker. Croaker. This is very expensive. You go to the restaurant and small piece of it. Come on.
Oh, bless them. Thank you.
No, no. Okay. Come on. Is he outside or inside? Tell her to come in.
Are we done with this class?
So she's gonna.
Suleiman, a kunna fitar tsakar gida ko ba kunna ba? Ba kunna ba to a me kake wankin bai sa na kunna solar? Da me kake wankin? Dannin hankali kenan me yasa na kunna solar? Da na kunna ba sai da ka zo na kunna ba a duhu ko kai wankin?